Well, good morning from beautiful Marco Island, Florida. It is a beautiful place. Gotta love it. If you gotta work somewhere on Saturday morning, I guess this ain't too bad. Anyhow. Alright, so we did these ceilings. Okay. These tongue and groove. Get a good focus. There we go. Did these dark stain tongue and groove ceilings. Did one there. Did a big one. That's a big ceiling over there. We'll end up doing crown around these too. But this video is for the purpose of we are going to put that pointed true north in the center of the ceiling. So I had the guys run the ceiling, or should I say we ran it together. Not gonna lie, they did most of the work, but this part I want to do myself, just for the simple fact of if there's going to be a mistake where we got to pull half this ceiling down because the circle's not right up there, I'd rather be the guy that has to take the blame. But I started looking up router jigs for circles, and I found one I particularly liked. And of course, on the YouTube channel, I let the gentleman know. I'll put the link on there. I've seen a couple different ones, but this is the one here. I chose this one because, number one, this stuff is, unless you really bang it hard, it's very rigid. And the one, I'll get up on the scaffold. All the other circular jigs I saw, they had that groove cut down the center, which, the pivot point would just movable. You can move it back and forth and make the circle bigger or longer. But what I didn't want to happen was me get up here and for some crazy reason find the center and take all this time, and we've got the ceiling done, and get this spinning this router around on this jig here, and for whatever reason the pivot point slide or have the jig slide or move on me, because that would be a disaster. So I chose this, and then I made this mark dead money. The medallion's 24 inches, so the mark on that jig is dead money 12 inches. You can't see behind that medallion, but there's a tester piece behind it that I tested at the shop yesterday after I made the jig, and it was right on the money. So here's a few of the tools I'm going to use. I'll show the whole video just for the fact that somebody might need to cut a larger circle and some tongue and groove, or even smaller circles, whether I succeed or fail miserably, then it'll all be on video, and it could help somebody else from getting tripped up on something. Anyhow, I've already got a 1/4 inch shank, 1/2 inch router straight bit in here. It's a little older. I'll probably use a brand new one. Okay, but I got this one. It's a 1/4 inch wide. All right. The template I made yesterday, that piece of wood down there that I cut the circle out of yesterday, I did it with a 1/2 inch bit. So when I drop to this 1/4 inch bit, it will make the circle in the ceiling just a tad smaller, which is fine. And I'm okay with that, because I would rather be smaller and then make sure everything looks good, try to fit the medallion in there. Just things happen. I get so ahead of myself sometimes, and with drywall mud or trim cake, there's a lot of stuff that you can fix after you done screwed it up. But this is going to be one of those things that, if got a bad hole in the ceiling back there. Those guys started from the other side. We would have to pull all this wood out all the way back to that hole, redo it, and then try again. And I'd lose sleep over that one. So anyhow, so I'll go with a 1/4 inch. I'll cut the hole, then I'll jump up to a 1/2 inch. This is just a 40-foot laser. Okay, it'll tell you with, you know, it says within a 1/4 inch accuracy up to 40 feet. So I'll find dead money on the ceiling. We'll cut the center hole out. Obviously, when we cut the center hole out, the inside edge of that will need to be stained. We'll let the painters do that, and then I will come back at a later date and install the medallion with a compass on true north. Okay? So, one thing though. Okay? When I find dead center of the ceiling, one thing to remember is, realistically, this is probably after it gets routed out, it's probably not going to fall out, but I'm going to take some 1¼ brad nails and shoot through here into the plywood above. This is actually a stucco ceiling, and we had to Tapcon through the stucco into the trusses with 5/8 plywood. It was it was definitely a bear. It was definitely a workload, but anyhow, so I'll shoot these 1¼ 18 gauges in there in the center, you know, 8 or 10 nails. Make sure they're sunk good, that way that jig don't catch on them. And then that way when we run the router, the idea will be take the jig, obviously hook it to the bottom of the router, okay, and then find the center, and then there's the hole, dead center, screw it in, and then all this other stuff here, all around here will be brad nailed. That way after we router it all out, it doesn't just fall out, and you know, we don't want this stuff moving too much because that router bit will catch and it'll bind. And that's not a big router, that's just a little 1-horse Colt, but if anybody's ever used a router, they can be, I mean, they can be really dangerous. So let me get set up. We'll tack a few nails in the center. Let me find the center, tack the nails in it, and then you know, basically just like you would do anything, we'll measure off this side, measure off that side. I remember the ceiling was pretty square, but you know, double check the length here, find center, and then from there to there, same thing on the behind me, and then we'll find center this way, and then this way, and then wherever it is, that's what we're gonna triple, quadruple check. And I'll restart the video once I've got the jig screwed in place. I'm gonna cut the hole. Well, I thought I had the best job in the world this morning until this guy showed up. He gets to swim and clean that big boat. That's what I told him. I said, well, you got a better job than I do. And he told me about the Goliath grouper that lives down under that boat. He said a sucker snatched his fin off one day. Let's see, here he goes. I don't know, this is a really shallow bay. There's a few little sharks, like black tip sharks and stuff like that, that me and my brother used to catch out here and stuff. But the Goliath grouper just taking over. They eat anything. I don't know, I think I'd rather stay dry. He's still got a pretty cool job though. Okay, here we go. Got the router hooked to the extension cord. Make sure it's tied in a knot. That way once you get rolling, it doesn't come undone, because that wouldn't be good. Take the drill, unscrew the screw, attach the router, and I guess we're going to go for it. I don't know what else to do. I don't know any other preparations I can make or foresee any other issues that you would have. Let's see here. possibly happen is we hit some nails in there. We run into some brad nails and finish nails that we nailed this tongue and groove up with. That might be a problem. I'm pretty sure we're going to immediately if we hit one. I don't know how the little router bit on this thing's going to handle it. Guess we'll find out. Should probably put some safety glasses on. I know some people ain't crazy about safety glasses, and why, I do not know. Put these on. My shades are a little too dark to see. Alright. I think this is it. Oh, I'm scared. Alright, here we go. All the chips. It's hanging, but I don't know, man. I don't want to let it hang too long. It spins good. That's good. Alright. Bring on the equipment. Here we go. Center. All right, there we go. Okay. Stand behind the router, that's for sure. Pass one down. Okay. Take a little pass. Put the depth down some. router faces leaving marks in this tongue and groove. I'm gonna have to put a piece of tape across the front of it. Get a piece of tape. And pull this down. Show you something. You can see a little bit. Scuffing that sucker up right there. That's a problem. We can sand it out just a tad, and they got to restain outside anyways, touch up stain and everything like that, but that's a no-go. So we need to tape the front of this router. Do that now. Okay. Took the medallion, fit it up there. It covers all the way around this groove. Okay. So I jumped that router bit up to a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then I put this bit of red tape on the outside of that router face. I am very surprised that it scuffed it up that much. You know what I mean? It'll. It's more just got the stain taken off. Check it out when we get done. Router the hole out, pull it down, clean the rest of the sealing off, and we'll see what happens. But everything's going all right so far. Really not happy about them scratches. I mean, they come out when we get a sample and stuff, but more like problems like that. This stuff to foresee. I am being extremely careful with this router. Another thing I didn't think of, since I've done it a couple times, started thinking everything. You got screws, 3-inch Tapcons through the plywood. We sunk all the heads of the Tapcons pretty well, but the last thing I want is for one of them router bits to hit one of them screw heads. It's a straight router bit. It's just like this one. Yep. And if the tip of that sucker catches one of them screws, it's going to be a violent little reaction. I like my fingers, so I think we're clear. It's still the same. It's better to be safe than sorry. Take this, put it right back in the pivot point. And good pass on it. Clean us out. Think about that. Go. Nope. Too much depth at one time. Back her out of there. Couple passes. Okay. These arms quit burning. Used to stucco ceilings like this all day long. Arms didn't get this tired. Reset the depth. Drop it another 1/4 inch, drop it a 1/2 inch. Like she ran all the way around. She cut all the way through. Good. All right. Hammer drill, but and that I like to wear long sleeves. Okay. Try this other wood out of the ceiling. With the silk. Definitely bring a long sleeve shirt next time. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's see here. The last thing you want to do is take a pry bar and damage this outside edge. Especially now that I got freaking marks in it. Nice. Okay. Peace. Okay. Move this a little closer, huh? And I'm not surprised that happened. And it happened. Perfect. Pull these brad nails out of here. Say a quick prayer to the Lord Jesus. I had the brains to do it right. This medallion will fit. I've seen a grown man cry lately, but this doesn't fit. I'll cry. Camera. No nail. Wow. That is freaking awesome, dude. I'm so stoked. I'm super stoked about that. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That is super sweet. Right. Good stuff. Now, we gotta find a way to get the GC and the homeowner some pictures without tacking it in there. Although, you can't even see that inside the rim there. Huh. in a bag from Lowe's is a age-old trick. Great grandfather taught me. Helps accumulate the wood and dust particles, like scuffing up the wood. That was a lot. That was a lot. Not a lot. All right. Question is, how am I going to... I just need to wedge this thing in there so I can get a picture. Let me get a wedge in there. I'm going to pick the video back up. There she is. There she is. Not bad. Not bad at all. Relatively north. I don't even know if they need to take it down and stain around that sucker. Nice. I'm pleased. Well, I don't know if you learned anything. I learned a couple things, but I'm pleased with it. So definitely the circle jig on the ceiling works. It's a little strenuous. Burns the arms and the shoulders a little bit. I would definitely, it's that important, measure twice, cut once, like old Bob Vila says. And until next time. Okay, a couple things that I couldn't relay in the earlier videos, or I didn't relay. Number one, the jig worked perfectly. Okay. I don't remember the guy's name or his YouTube channel, or I can't remember either one of them, but I'll go back through the library and I will post I'll post a link to that video of what I based that jig on today. I like the jig for the simple fact that it had a fixed point in the center. Okay. I didn't want one with the slot in the middle because I didn't want to get up there on that ceiling and that thing starts sliding or moving on the fixed point. You know what I mean? Just, I didn't see anything that would work good on a ceiling, but I knew, or I hoped that this would, and it did. So I'll share the link in the bottom in the comments. Also, if I had it to do again, I would definitely stick dead money to what he did. He recessed his screws a little more, but he did it with a Forstner bit. So the thing is, I didn't. And that's why I got them a little bit of scuff marks on that stained ceiling. I got lucky. That could have been a bad deal. So number one, even if it's just the jig, I would tape the front of it. Tape the front of the jig. That way you don't scuff or mark anything that's finished if you're doing any type of finished wood. And definitely recess the screws enough. It was just barely the heads of the screws were sticking out, but it could have been a bad deal. Luckily, it was just the stain a little bit that was coming off, so they had to restain it. That was a prelim stain, but it could have been like a $2,500 mistake. But besides that, that type of jig works great on a ceiling. I don't know if I'll use it again. I don't know when I'll need to. You know, you can make smaller circles. You know, you could get dead center can lights on ceilings for tongue and groove ceilings and stick it in and router it right out. So I'll probably keep the jig, but Either way, it worked great. Thanks for watching the video.